Welcome to Conversations with Toy, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday. I am struggling today. Let's just get this episode started. Let me get on the right foot. Happy Friday. I hope that you have had the most amazing week, because are you deserving? Yes, you are. However, hello, welcome. My name is Toy. I am your podcaster. I wear a lot of hats. I am a content creator, influencer, writer, blogger, freelance writer, social media maven. I do a lot of things, a lot. But one of the two hats that I love the most is being a wife and a mother of 3 amazing children. Welcome to Conversations with Toy. Again, cannot stress enough. On this podcast, I talk about the things that are dealing with our mental health and wellness, but also about things that are happening on these internet streets. And listen, I had a complete entire episode situated. Like, I had it all written out, how this was going to go. And then I went online and it kicked me in my spirit. Right. My entire show that I had planned, I had everything written. This is what I was going to cover. We got this organized. And then I went on the internet, and the internet streets was speaking so loudly. And I am so disturbed. My mental health is like, girl, what is going on? Because what? Yes. Isn't that crazy how you can read one story, you can read 2 stories, just anything that's happening on the internet, and it literally can make you feel like, what in the 5 hells is going on? So that is what I'm feeling right now. We are going to talk about it because social media plays a huge part of how we see life, how we see ourselves, how we see the people around us. And if you lie to yourself, like if you willingly say to yourself that that's not the case, I just want you to know that we all know that you're lying. Even if you tell yourself that it doesn't matter, it's not a big deal, I just want you to know that we all know that you're lying. But today, I want to speak truth and power to the very things that I saw on the internet today that legitimately disturbed my spirit. It shook me to my core, and there's a lot of things that just doesn't really always correlate to that. Like, I attempt to do my best to, I'm on the internet. I have to use it for my business. Everything that I do is done by the internet. You can completely have a whole business online. But then you'll see something so disturbing as I saw today. And I thought to myself, my God, what is wrong with your children? Exactly the thought process. I was like, Lord, what exactly is wrong with your children? Before I get into all that, let me just give you a recap of all the things that took place since the last time I spoke. We had an episode last week. And on last week's episode, we talked about spring and how spring has sprung, and a lot of people are feeling so much better. A lot of us who were dealing with those winter blues and that seasonal depression are coming out of it. We're coming out of our shell. We are showing up in better ways than what we did in the wintertime, and in the way that the winter had a chokehold on us. Here in Philadelphia, we've had, I think, 3 or 4 major snowstorms that happened this winter, of which I knew that at some point it was going to catch up. Meaning at some point we were going to have a true winter time, right? There's been times when, like in years past, we didn't have any snow. We just had cold days. This past winter, we had cold days and snow. And although I do appreciate a good snow day, I actually appreciate a good snow day. I like the times when we as a family can sit in the house together, eat, kind of have our snowstorm snacks, and we're good to go. I love that. But I'm yet not a fan of the winter. I cannot stand winter's cold. I could not. I honestly, if I could move to like Arizona or somewhere like that, I would gladly appreciate it. Now, I know they actually also had some snow, but I'm sure it wasn't anything as detriment as we have had. Nonetheless, I say all to say last week's episode was about spring and your health and wellness and how you might not be feeling like, the tides have turned for you. I talked about practical ways in which you can do with that as you're transitioning from winter to spring. It's not just that when a calendar hits, we're spring and then all of a sudden the mindset just completely changes. For some of us, it can be that way, but for many of us, it's not. So I talked about that. If you would like to learn more about that, please listen to last week's episode. I promise you it was a good listen, in my opinion. And I tried to organize the episode to give you true things you could do to help you as you navigate that space. But this week, Lord have mercy, we are going to hell in a handbasket at this point. I am uberly concerned about the way in which this world is moving and the way in which this world is living. I'm going to attempt to keep some of the topics that I talked about, or at least not that I talked about, but that I wrote down for today's episode. But I'm going to literally go in on men. Listen, I need you to understand me right now. I get it that men say we get a bad rep. Everybody's always coming for our neck. They're always doing something. However, on this particular episode and this particular conversation, it's unfortunately well deserved. Right? People always talk about, men are always getting yelled at. They're told they're not enough. This is not that type of conversation. It's never always all men, but it's always a man. And in these particular examples of what the hell is going on these internet streets, we got a lot to talk about. The lack of self-control. I am so tired of hearing men say that that women are too emotional, but y'all show y'all emotions just in different ways, and usually by some sort of lack of control. Think about the many women who have been killed or injured or harmed because they didn't want to give you their real number. I remember back in the days when I could give like a little raggedy number and I could go about my way. That man wouldn't even think to call you, hit you up until after he got home. A lot of that is due to the cell phones that we have, where we can kind of get that instant gratification. You can look somebody up from their socials. You can look them up in their phones if you got their number. Again, the phones and social media have collided and caused life to be a little harder. Again, back in the days, I remember I think there was like a couple of numbers that you can give, and it would be like the person that you just called doesn't want your number, didn't want you to have a number, and go about your way without fear of retaliation. Like I didn't have to wonder if somebody was going to follow me home from the club and beat my ass just because I didn't give their number. At this point in the game, even as a married woman, I'm giving you my rightful number. I'll block you when I get back home because I need to get home safely, unfortunately. I remember this was a few years ago. I was in a casino. Now, all casinos have nothing but undercover cops. There's cops. There's, people in authority all the way around. No need for me to feel unsafe in any way. But this man walked up to me and he was approaching me to the point where I had to text my husband, like, listen, I had to give that man my number. I did not feel safe under any circumstances. And when I got home, I completely blocked him to the uttermost. But I had to give my real number because back in the days when I could get away with giving you a trick number, when I could get away with giving you like a Google number, when I could get away with doing certain things, I can't do that now. I can't. So we have to unfortunately teach our children, especially our daughters, how to be more safe, because again, it's not always a man, but when it is, it's going to be a man. It's always never every man, but it's always going to be a man. And so therefore, having to be safe to get myself home without hurt, harm, or losing my life is real. This is why, again, I don't listen to men when they say that women are the only emotional ones. Y'all just show your emotions differently. So again, I'm going to preface, this is not me coming at men to bash men because I felt bored. This is not me coming for men and at men because I'm in some secret relationship with my husband and we're beefing today. And so because we're beefing, I'm coming at all men. That has nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Today's episode is unfortunate, a reality that many women unfortunately live every single day. But now, because CNN has discovered it, so if you already know where I'm going with this, now it's become a think piece. It's a conversation. It's more texting. Everybody's using social media to express their concerns. Even me, I've been on there already like, hey, what the hell is going on? Now, I don't know where I was all day today to the point where I didn't see any of these stories, but to see them now, I am very much disturbed. So again, I'm going to try my best because I said that I would to try to include the original things that I want to talk about. But we got to talk about this rape academy. And if there is any man who don't feel as strongly as I'm fearing or feeling right now, I know you would be one that would be in it. Like, I feel like if it wasn't as taboo as it was to be having people talk about it, you would be watching and figuring out things. The fact that somebody came together, a man decided that we are going to have an academy that's going to teach you how to rape and hurt and do all kinds of devious things to your partner or partners, there is a problem. There's an actual problem. And when women say it's not always men, or it's not all men, but it's always a man, these are the things that we're talking about. 62 million people decided to go on the site in the month of February. We're not talking about February, March, April, May. We're not talking about even all of 2025 or 2026. We're talking about the month of February, and we had that many people decide, let me go ahead and pay this money. Let me go ahead and watch this so I could either learn or watch this happening. Like, what if this is some type of sexual, sick, deviant behavior that even if you're saying, oh, I would not do it, what would make you feel comfortable watching somebody else do this? And we're talking about random, regular, everyday schmegular. We're not talking about professionals. This, although it shouldn't even happen on a professional level, we're talking about regular degulars who decided that they were going to get on here and show their own videos of what they do to their spouses. I think that's the part that people are just trying so hard in their heart of hearts to act like they're not aware of. You literally decided, let me go ahead and figure out how to do this, and then I'm going to record it, upload it to something, and then I'm going to teach others how to do this. We're not talking about how to make money. We're not even talking about a good pyramid scheme. We're talking about how can I rape and harm the women in my life, right? How can I do this? I don't know. Let's go ahead and make a rape academy. That way we can get millions of other men who feel the same way we feel, and we can all come together and we can watch this, and this could be our thing. Like, this is our jam. Like, this is our jam, and this is what we're going to do. 62 million of y'all decided to come together and just decide to watch all these things go down. And here's the thing. I'm not even convinced that it's men only. I'm convinced that it's some women too. Because, like, what the hell's wrong with y'all? What in the five hells is wrong with y'all? Like, I know y'all probably thought that I was gonna be all cute and serene and button it up real tight, but to think that women are literally at every day or at an expense of having something bad happen to them because a man couldn't control himself, yet we got to hear about how a woman wasn't good enough to go into the office, and God forbid you black woman wasn't good enough to go into the office because she might be too emotional, only to have the most emotional person, man or woman, be in the office right now withholding money from the Catholic charities because he's beefing with a pope. He is beefing with a man of the cloth, so he's going to withhold money to help children because of the beef. He imagined in his mind, spoke it out loud, and then decided to act on it. And we women are too emotional. Please make it make sense. Is sense in the room with us right now? Because I'm not seeing it. A rape academy. I thought my flabbers were gasted when I literally read this. CNN, first of all, y'all did y'all big one for even uncovering it. But I need y'all to go ahead and go further. I need y'all to go ahead and drop that information. I need you to drop out all the information. I need names. I need screen names. I need phone numbers. I need all that. I need you to drop a bag on all the women and the men. Anybody that's involved, I need everybody's name exposed. Because for why? I want to know that this is who you think, this is what you thought was okay. I don't care if it was my daddy or my husband. Even if it's the two of them, expose them. Expose them. And when you get done exposing them, let us all know so that we can move accordingly. Every woman that's married to a man that's on that site needs to go ahead and get a divorce. They need to go ahead and get a divorce because you are not safe. These men were doing things to make women unconscious so that they can carry out these things. We're not talking about women being willingly, this is just their thing. And so they're like, yeah, I'll record with you. And they went about this. We're talking about women who were drugged. And then this happened. And then it was uploaded for other people to gawk at, look at, think about, all these things. These are people who didn't have a choice. So if there's any man, and even if they are my daddy and my husband, it don't get no higher than those two outside of Jesus. Outside of the good Lord, my daddy and my husband, it don't get no higher. So, but even if it's them two involved, I am saying from the mountaintop to the lowest of the valleys, I will not support and or defend. I will not get on anybody's internet, Beyonce's internet, Al Gore's internet, anybody's internet, and defend no bad behavior as such. I don't care if it's the pastor on there. I don't care if it's the good whoever on there. If you're on there, expose it so we can know. And then I need every woman to get into their spirit to find a way to get the heck up out of Dodge, because you, my friend, are not safe. You're not safe. And this is why, how are people in general making bad conversations about when women say would they choose the bear over a man, and y'all sliding down imaginary walls, holding on to the cross on your necklace and all your things about the fact that women say that they would choose a bear that we know can kill them, because at least you know the devil you know versus the one you don't. I have been saying this amongst my friends, but you could be very well sleeping with the enemy. That means that the person that you are in a couplitude with, the one you lay your head next to every night, you could be sleeping with the enemy. And if he is giving enough courage, if somebody pays him enough, if he just gets in his spirit quietly enough, he will enact and show you better than he can tell you. Better than he can tell you. Because why else do we have a rape academy? Why do we have that? Because men be trying to play in our faces as if they are these upstanding, very much in control of their emotions. Women are too deep. They do too much. You don't think it's too much to drug the person that you live with where you could possibly get it for free? Now get it. Women are not going to be out here just giving it up. That girl just giving it up. Every woman ain't like that. So even if you do get married to them and they switch it up, then go ahead and get divorced. Go ahead and leave. That's not your tea. That's not your cup of tea. Then go ahead and do that. But see, some of y'all like the fact of the favor you have because of the person that you're with, but you're not too much in favor because you don't want to roll, right? You want to complain. You want to do all these things, but you don't want to leave. You just don't want to leave. Let me say something. If and when they start dropping the names, drop bows on them, if they start talking about the folks involved, and I'm talking about even down to the celebrities that's involved, I'm going to need y'all to go ahead and wrap this up by noon, and I need you to have an action plan. Because the crazy part about it is, what can you say? What can this man say? Oh, I was just playing. I just wanted to see what's going on. My co-worker sent me the link. If your co-worker sent you a link to a rape academy, you ain't think nothing of it to be like, oh, that ain't for me. That's not what I'm about. Nothing. You just decided, let me go ahead and watch it. That's what you're gonna say? Somebody else gave unto me, Eve, the apple, and I did eat of the fruit and became wise. That's what you're gonna say? Because that excuse didn't work with God back in the day, and it ain't gonna work now. That's what you're going to say. That somebody else brought this information to you, and instead of you having some type of emotional intelligence, you decided to let me just go and see what's on there. I just wanted to see what's on there. If your name is in the building, if you are on the rolls and they drop it, I need every woman to start developing the back of your mind, even me, have a plan. Now, here's the thing. Every woman ain't going to be able to just roll out just, okay, my husband's on there, I got to go. But I need you to get real quiet, and I need you to get strategic. This ain't the time to tell him about what you're going to do. This is the time to get quiet. Let him think that he just got off scot-free, and then hit it where it hurts and get the hell out of Dodge. Because you and your children, and if you found out that your significant other is on there and you have children in the home, even if it hurts you like hell, protect your children and get the hell up out of there. Get the hell up out of there, because you are in there raising a family with a man that's willing to cause harm on a woman. And here's the crazy part. You won't be able to convince me that most of these men have daughters. Right? The biggest predators in the world be having daughters who they feel like they might not be able to can't do the harm to their daughters, but would be willing to do it to somebody else's daughter. And let me explain something to you. If you have no respect for somebody else's daughter and your own, you'll respect no one. Nobody. Because every woman that you come in contact with is somebody else's daughter. And even if you're just like, well, she ain't none of mine, if you'll disrespect anybody's daughter, you'll disrespect your own. And I need women to wake the hell up and get the hell up out of Dodge. Because when I explain to you quickly as you can hear me, they will cause you even more harm, and then can and will harm your children. I don't understand. This is not me trying to scare tactic you. This is just the straight up truth. A man without self control, especially when they can't control their sexual urges, will be a detriment to you and your family. And please don't fool yourself into thinking that they'll hurt everybody else, but not you and his children, because that's not always the case. That's not always the case at all. So again, I say, this Rape Academy literally threw me for a loop. I was extremely disturbed watching these stories and these conversations unfold with different people on the internet. And the amount of men that said, just because I would watch it doesn't mean I would do it. Why the hell do you get off on somebody being raped? We're not talking about the videos. There's all kinds of porn out there. There's all kinds of videos you could watch. People who are willingly engaging in rough sex and different things. Why do you need to be involved with someone outside of their consciousness, or not making decisions to be a participant? They are being drugged and all kinds of carrying on just so somebody else can be sexually satisfied. You've got to be a natural born demon to think that that was okay. You have literally have got to have had sushi with the devil to think that this was okay. Something in your mind, in your spirit, and in your heart is not right. We used to sing a song at church that said, I went to a meeting one night and my heart wasn't right. Something got a hold of me. Something is wrong with you. You got to be a demon. You literally got to be double dutching with the devil himself to think that that type of mess is okay. Because I can almost guarantee you it's not. I can almost guarantee you, because your mind ain't all there, it's not. So that was story number one. I said, what is going on here? We got rape academies. Do you know how guttermost you got to be to make a whole academy behind something? That means you have said, hey, class is in session, y'all. Let's do this. The second story that threw me into a tailspin, I think I watched this story first and then the Rape Academy, and then it just made me sick. Okay. Athena Strand was a 7-year-old who was in her home and came outside, and the man named Tanner Horner kidnapped her, sexually assaulted her, raped or raped her, beat her, and then got rid of her body. 7 years old. And to hear today that the jury had to hear, at one point his camera was on, and the little girl's asking him, are you a kidnapper? Then he tells her to take off her shirt, and she's like, I need to ask my mom, and she's asking and calling for her mom, only for him to turn around, and he takes the camera off, but you can still hear, the jurors are listening to this as an hour of him raping her, beating her, strangling her, killing her. And again, I say, it's not all men, but it's always a man. And we're talking about a 7-year-old little girl. My youngest is 12 years old. I can't even begin to fathom somebody bothering her at 12, let alone 7. When I saw this, I said, my God, please get me off. I got to get off the internet. Like, I just got to get off the internet at this point. Because I hadn't really heard about the story. Again, there are just certain things that if I just don't, again, I just wouldn't have heard about it. And I don't know what was going on. I think I was on Threads. If you're not on Threads is really educational in my opinion. There's a lot of drama that goes on there, and there's a lot of conversations that's going to be had, from politics all the way down to how to make a good sandwich. I mean, it's literally the gamut is open. But as I got on Threads and people were talking about the story, I was like, oh my God, what's going on now? I don't know if they were talking about the story because of the Rape Academy. I don't know. But what I do know is when I read the details, it literally almost had me in full-fledged tears, because again, I am a mother. I am a woman. I have daughters. This is sick. So that was the first story. And then I saw the Rape Academy and I said, oh my God, today's podcast is about to go real quick and real left, because this is sick and this is sad behavior coming from folks who, again, should have it a little bit more of themselves together than what they're demonstrating. And this by far sent me, I said, these two things sent me over the edge today. The conversations that I was going to talk about, which I'm going to try to interject them into in a few minutes, but just the fact that we have all of this happening This world is sick, literally sick. So the conversations that we're going to have today, I wanted y'all to wrap up these TED Talks about Tina Campbell. Tina Campbell is the half of Mary, gospel singer, who was married to, I believe, what is his name? Because this man, he had a weird name. Let me find out his name. Hold on, 2 seconds. His name is Glendon, but we know him as Teddy Campbell, and they were married. They've been married for over 20 years. Back in the days when their show was on, they had a reality show, the Tina and Erica, who are the Mary group. And they were on, so back in the days when they were doing the, well, that's still there. I guess not really back in the day because they still do it. The reality TV shows. And they had a reality TV show, which I just thought was, in my opinion, just a quick money grab because why are y'all on here? What is going on, right? So back in the days when I was watching it, and I was watching just reality shows in general, this was one of the ones that I watched. And I remember very vividly when he cheated on her and she was going Katie on the kaboom. And listen, by all accounts, she probably should have, because she was trying her best to try to find her way to get back home instead of performing and, traveling so much and then leaving that space open for him to have that situation go down. Now, let me also state this was her words, not mine. I believe that you could be up underneath him. Like my mother would say, you can hold a man's penis in your hand all day and every day. And if they want to find a way to cheat, they can take it out your hand and find a way. So I never believed that it was her fault as to why this is happening. So let me clarify that up right now. I am a girl's girl. I don't have time to sit up there and make it seem like she did something or could have did something or would have done something, because you could be a 24-hour sex kitten for your husband. If they want to go out here and cheat, they're going to cheat, right? So let's fast forward to now, 20 years in their marriage. Now he has decided to file for divorce, and people are making all these TED Talks about how she should have left him when he cheated on her first. Possibly. There could be a possible good explanation as that could actually be something that is real. Maybe he could have done that. Maybe that could have been a thing. However, I would like to preface, when when it's in them to do something, they're going to do it no matter what the situation is, right? And so now everybody's talking about how she could have did this and how she would have done that. None of that is helpful right now, because according to him, they have been separated since 2024. So this is about good 2 years. So, it happens. So they've been separated for about 2 years, and okay, they're now at the point where he wants to go ahead and file for divorce, whatever his reasons are. Him cheating 20,000, however many long years ago it was, or even if he never stopped, none of that is our concern. Here's the thing. A lot of us, and I say us because I am married as well, there are a lot of things that happen and take place that we probably should have enacted on. There's a lot of things that we ignore, quote unquote. But these think pieces ain't going to fix them. These think pieces, no different than the opinion that I'm sharing, ain't going to do anything, because at the end of the day, it has to take two willing individuals to come together and decide that their marriage is worth more than any of the infidelity that they have going on. And some people just don't recover from either side. They just don't recover. And so what I can do is say, hey, Lord, guide them, give them wisdom in their decision, because I do believe they have children. And outside of that, I'm just of the mindset is that, listen, as a married person myself, everything don't always pan out the way you want it to pan out. And sometimes in the situations that we don't walk away from, God will send something else that will be waking us up and shaking us. And it could be an after effect that we should have known better, but we didn't. But it is what it is. And so we got to get to the point where we recognize what are the ways in which I can honor myself, my marriage, all the things, but also not take no junk. Because when a man knows he has you in his back pocket, when he knows that you'll just do the bare bone minimum and he can do whatever he wants, when he knows that all he has to do is say, I'm sorry, and you just take him back. When someone knows that, no different than when a woman knows that, folks is going to do what they're going to do. Folks is going to be raggedy beyond measures. Folks are going to find a way to sneak around and do all the things. Folks is going to find when there's a will, there is a way. So I need us to wrap these think pieces up, because at the end of the day, regardless of what goes down between this very much married couple, they're going to make the decision according to what makes sense for them. And the best thing we could do is pray for the transition of them children, because they are the ones that are caught between two adult situations. And make the good choices that they have to make, because if they're going to file for divorce and they're going to go through with it, there's a lot of emotional issues that could come from that. And that's the prayer. It's not about, well, it's Mary and they should have known better and they love the Lord. None of that matters. What does matter is how we respond. And I'm hoping that the response going forward is it going to be filled with a whole bunch of church colloquialisms that we actually think about, what am I feeling in this moment? I am hurt, I am upset, and being honest, because so many of us have so much going on between the people that are in our lives, but we don't say nothing. We just hold it in. We hold it down, POP, and then when things go left, that's when we're on these different ways of talking, and then that's when we take it there. Points of joy this week. I saw that Kyla Pratt, who is the voice of um, Proud Family and Penny Proud, finally gets a Penny Proud character that is at Disney. And honestly, it makes me want to go and visit because I love Disney, one. And number two, I just want to be able to take a picture with Penny Proud. Like, just how beautiful that is at this moment. And again, how long in the making. The Proud Family has been out for years, years, and finally getting a character has to be one of the most amazing things. And for Kyla Pratt to be there, I honestly just wish I had been there. But congrats to Kyla Pratt, congrats to the Proud Family franchise, all the things, because it was one of the most black to black of cartoons, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I love the opening song that was sung by Destiny's Child. I loved just the dynamics of each of the family members that were, represented in that family, and I am super happy to see that. Like, that was really one point of joy that I experienced this week. Another point of joy was just like, setting my mind to certain different goals and accomplishing them. Of course, there's some goals where I was like, you know what, you could have done better, and I didn't. But I'm like, you know what, we're just going to give myself some grace and grace myself through it. Finding a way to, again, like with all these horrific stories that we've been talked about today on the podcast, it's been heavy. So I probably should have given a trigger warning, but I will do that, making sure that for those who are listening to it going forward will know that there is a trigger warning. But um, just it's going into this new season and trying to find ways to create pockets of joy. Involved in this creator content, like a content creator group, and I don't know if you want to call it a club. I don't think it necessarily is that, but what I will say, it is like a way for us to kind of do like a soundboard. And today we were talking about how do we celebrate our wins? What small ways, what big ways do we celebrate our wins? And you know understanding that every win doesn't have to be ginormous. Like, some wins are just simple, but the way that you celebrate yourself matters. And also being okay and happy to celebrate yourself. Sometimes we're taught that that's just what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do certain things. You're supposed to show up in certain spaces. And so we don't have the tenacity to sometimes to just do what's necessary. So if you are experiencing any wins this week, pat yourself on the back. One, you've made it to Friday with all the things that's going on in this world. Again, we don't live for Fridays, but we are grateful for them. Number two, whatever you've accomplished this week is yours and yours alone. Three, be in the mindset that it's okay to celebrate yourself, because it really is. I get it. Life be life, and it happens and hits all of us differently, but you are deserving of celebrating your wins. So think about your wins that you've experienced this week. Don't focus on the things that you could have, should have, would have done better. Focus on what you were able to do. It could be as simple as getting your child to school on time this week. That could be a win. They don't have to be super major, but yes, life is lifing. Life is hard. It comes with all these different checks and balances. We got men doing weird stuff in here when it comes to children and women and all kind of carrying on. But again, I say you can still create little pockets of joy, because honestly, in the world that we live in right now, we need to experience small pockets of joy to keep us grounded, focused, and keeping us at the point where we continue to flourish. Because sometimes when life hits you too hard and you don't feel like you're flourishing, that's when life becomes unbearable. So you know the drill by now, but in case this is your first time tuning in, I always end each podcast by encouraging you to do something good for yourself. This is beyond the titles that you are. This is not about you being a mom, an aunt, a sister, or an uncle or brother. None of those things. It's about finding things that make you smile. What is on your list of things to do that you could do one thing this weekend? What would that be, and how are you going to make that happen? And again, this is from every price point, from every level. Sometimes getting rest is free, and sometimes doing that can set your week in the best way. So I want you to have the most amazing week. We talked about a few heavy conversations for today, and I understand not everybody's going to be like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. But let me tell you something about how your mental health can be affected by the news and the things that you're bringing in. Again, I say, rightfully so, I should be angered. Rightfully so, I should be frustrated because of the conversations or the things that we talked about today. The two conversations we talked about when it comes to children and women. Yeah, those things make you feel a certain way. However, it's unfortunate, even though it is a trigger for some people, that we need to be mindful of what we watch, what we take in. And yes, in situations like today when we had to talk about something heavy, having to consume that is unfortunate, but it is a point of something that we need to do. We shouldn't run away from the fears that we have unlocked inside of us. There are things that could happen, things that might happen, but we can't live for those. What we could do is protect ourselves with the knowledge that we have at the time, make the best decisions that we can at the time. I'm really encouraging you to take a real deep dive into what it is that makes you happy, what it is that makes you feel like you're joyful, makes you feel like you're stable, makes you feel like you have it under control while you're trying to learn to get it under control. I wish that for everybody because nothing says mental health and like all kinds of mess when you're dealing with things that you can't even formulate. Like I've been in situations where it's like I've had the conversations right there, but the words wouldn't come out because there was so many things that were happening all at one time. And again, my encouragement listening to this podcast is one, to be informed. You may not have heard about the Rape Academy, didn't even know existed. You might not have heard about Athena's story because you may not be paying attention to the news. And all these, though these conversations are troubling, we are still in need of making sure that we talk about them honestly, and so that we can bring awareness. I felt like I was on the internet all day, but then I wasn't. But then when I read us again these two stories, I was like, where have I been all day? And apparently this has been going on all day. People have been having these conversations, and I haven't been a part of it because I didn't even know they existed. So again, protect yourself, protect your heart, protect your mind, and do what's best for you and make the best decisions according to the information that you know. And forgive yourself when the situation, once you find out more information that doesn't align, forgive yourself and move forward. I'm grateful for this week. I'm grateful for the challenges. I'm grateful for the things I learned about myself. And I'm also grateful for some rest. I've been getting some good, gracious goodness. God is good sleep. And I'm going to do and encourage you to try to get as much rest and sleep because when you are in a troubled situation, your mind is troubled, your heart is troubled. Lack of sleep will make you more irritable. Lack of sleep will make you feel like the world has come to an end. So again, it's not. It's close, but it's not. For those who listened to last week's episode, I had a great time with my Bible. I've been reading it, getting into it, getting into the devotions. I'm really just excited about that. And who would have thunk that my mother, father, my grandparents, all of them would say, as you got older, you would understand it better on the by and by. So have the most amazing week. We will be back, the Lord's will, next week to talk about it some more. But I want you to encourage yourself to take care of the things that you hear, you see, and you take in. Be rightfully, angered about the things that should be rightfully angered and separate the two out. We should be aware of the things that are going on around us. And when we hear things, react, it's okay. But once your mind calms down from the reaction, the game plan is to, again, try to find some way of exposing things that should be exposed, uplifting the things that should be uplifted, praying for the things that need to put prayer to it, and all of those things will come and will align itself if you stay the course. So have the most amazing Friday, have the most amazing week, and we will be back next week. I think by the time we're back, Earth Day will already taken place. I've written the Earth Day blog. I'm going to tag it, and so you can read it and let me know what you think. other than that, have the most amazing week again, as usual. Sending much love to you and yours. We'll be back next week with Conversations with Toy.
Thank you as always for joining me, and I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.